The smell always arrived before the trucks did. Thick, sweet, rotten like burnt sugar mixed with swamp water. By 16, Elsie Wren could tell the refinery schedule just by stepping outside barefoot at dawn. And every morning, another mountain of black cane sludge sat steaming behind her family's farm like somebody's dirty secret. Her father kept writing letters. Nobody answered. Her mother stopped talking about it entirely. The county acted blind. The neighbors acted tired. And the refinery kept dumping waste downhill onto land that used to grow the best corn in the valley. Yeah. That happened for almost 6 straight years. One morning, Elsie watched another truck back toward the fence line without even slowing down. The driver never looked at the farmhouse. None of them did. But standing there on that porch, staring at the poison swallowing their fields, she had this strange feeling something about the whole thing wasn't adding up. Because the deadest patch of land on the property suddenly had one thing growing. A tomato plant. Not weak, not struggling, thriving. Dark leaves, thick vines, fruit hanging heavy enough to bend the stems. Meanwhile, everything around it looked half dead. Elsie stood there staring at it, while flies buzzed over the ditch, and for the first time in years, she stopped feeling angry. She got curious. Let me back up a sec. The Wren farm used to be beautiful. 80 acres beside the river, rich black soil, an old barn leaning slightly east from decades of storms. Elsie's grandfather used to joke you could drop a seed in that dirt and accidentally grow a forest. Then the refinery expanded. A company man showed up promising the dumping would be temporary. 1 season became 2. 2 became forever. The cane waste changed the drainage, poisoned the roots, soured the well water. And little by little, the farm started dying while the refinery kept getting richer. The worst part, nobody fought back anymore. Neighbors worked for the company. County officials avoided eye contact. Even good people started saying things like, "That's just how it is now." And honestly, hearing that hurt more than the smell. So Elsie stopped waiting for help. She started sneaking books home from the county library instead. Composting manuals, soil biology, agricultural journals nobody else checked out. A quiet librarian kept setting extra pamphlets aside for her, like she knew something important was happening. That's when Elsie learned the refinery hadn't been dumping garbage. They'd been dumping raw material. Sugarcane biogas looked useless because nobody finished the process. Raw, it poisoned soil, but balanced correctly with nitrogen, oxygen, moisture, heat. It transformed into living fertilizer richer than anything chemical companies sold in stores. So, behind the old equipment shed, hidden from the road, Elsie built her first compost pile by hand. Wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow of cane waste. Chicken manure from the coop. Forest soil packed with microbes. And for 9 straight days, nothing happened. Then one freezing morning she pushed a steel rod into the center of the pile and nearly dropped it when she pulled it back out hot enough to burn her hand. The pile was alive. Now, here's where things got ugly. A boy from school spotted Elsie hauling manure one Saturday morning. By Monday, everybody called her Manure Girl. Somebody even spray painted it across her locker. She never cleaned it off. You know why? Because while everybody laughed, her compost kept working. The pile heated, cooled, broke down, failed, recovered. Sometimes it smelled sweet, like forest soil after rain. Other times it smelled like a dead animal exploded under a tarp. Elsie rebuilt it anyway, hands cracked open from winter cold, shoulders aching every night. An old agriculture teacher finally noticed what she was reading during lunch and quietly handed her a battered soil science book held together with tape. "If you need help," he said softly, "my barn's got space." That was the first adult who treated her like she wasn't crazy. By spring, Elsie spread her first finished compost over a dead 1/4 acre beside the house. Sandy soil, weeds. Nothing useful had grown there for years. 3 months later, the place looked unreal. Corn waist high by June. tomato vines exploding off their stakes, bean plants growing faster than she could tie them down. Meanwhile, the rest of the county still looked dry and tired. That's when the neighbors started showing up at the fence. One farmer stood there 20 straight minutes, watching Elsie harvest vegetables, before finally asking the question everybody wanted answered. What are you putting on that soil? Elsie wiped dirt off her hands and pointed toward the black dumping mountain behind the south fence. The man just stared. Because suddenly, everybody realized the refinery had accidentally dumped millions of dollars worth of organic fertilizer onto the wrong girl's farm. An agriculture teacher later tested the soil and nearly lost his mind. Elsie's compost had tripled the organic matter of surrounding fields, loaded with microbial life stronger than anything he'd measured in 20 years. And word spread fast. Farmers started visiting weekly. The university sent researchers. Regional magazines printed stories. Then, one October morning, a man from the refinery showed up wearing a much nicer suit than before. Funny how respectful people become once they realize you figured out something valuable first. He asked if the Wrens would be willing to discuss the materials on the property. Elsie didn't yell, didn't gloat, didn't even smile. She just looked toward the barn and said, "You can talk to my father." There was no dramatic courtroom ending, no handcuffs, no billionaire collapse. Honestly, that's what made the whole thing feel real. The refinery quietly paid to clear the dumping site. Elsie got hired as a consultant, helping convert waste into commercial compost. The same material destroying her family's land eventually rebuilt it, richer than before. And over the next few years, the Wren farm slowly came back to life. By 23, Elsie's bottom fields were darker, softer, healthier than anything within 50 miles. Farmers who once ignored her now copied her methods. The county that mocked Manure Girl suddenly called her a genius. Yeah, people do that. These days, Elsie still works the land quietly every Sunday morning, turning compost rows behind the old shed while swallows cut low across the pasture. She says the land never lies. People just stop listening long enough to hear it. And honestly, maybe the refinery never lost at all. Maybe they just accidentally created the one person smart enough to beat them using their own waste. So what do you think, was Elsie right to profit from the company's mistake? Or should she have fought harder to punish them publicly? Let me know in the comments, because small town justice gets complicated real fast.